Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a little secret. Everyone wants to win, but almost no one wants to do what winners do. We all say, I'll start tomorrow. But have you noticed that tomorrow has the bad habit of never arriving? You tell yourself, tomorrow I'll wake up early. Tomorrow comes, and your bed suddenly feels like a 5-star hotel. You say, tomorrow I'll go to the gym. Tomorrow comes, and somehow your shoes can't find themselves. And you say, tomorrow I'll chase my dream. But tomorrow quietly whispers, relax. There's always another tomorrow. And that, my friends, is how average is built. One comfortable tomorrow at a time. See, people think discipline means being serious all the time, like some robot who never smiles. No. Discipline isn't about being strict. It's about being consistent. Even when you don't feel like it. You think successful people want to wake up early every day? No. They hate the alarm too. The difference is they get up anyway. So today, I'm going to share with you the 7 rules of discipline that build winners. Not superstars, not lucky people, real people who learn to stop negotiating with their excuses. So here's rule number 1. Do it even when you don't feel like it. Because if you only move when you're motivated, you'll only move once a week. Motivation is like Wi-Fi. It disappears when you need it most. But discipline is like your mobile data. It works everywhere. You can't build dreams on emotions. You build them on habits. Every morning, you don't want to get up. Every time you don't want to try again. Because that moment, right there, when you don't feel like it, that's when discipline is built. A lion doesn't wait to feel inspired before it hunts. If it did, it'd starve. So don't wait for perfect feelings. Act first. Let feelings catch up later. You don't need motivation. You need momentum. And momentum begins the moment you say, I'll do it anyway. That's rule number 1. And if you master just this one, you're already halfway to becoming unstoppable. Rule 2, control your mind before your mind controls you. Let's be honest. Your mind is a genius at making excuses. It's like that one friend who always has a reason why something can't be done. You say, I'll start working out. Your mind says, let's research gyms for 3 weeks first. You say, I'll start my business. Your mind says, wait for the perfect time. You say, I'll start studying. Your mind says, but first, let's clean the room, reorganize the desk, check Instagram, and maybe take a nap to mentally prepare. Sound familiar? Yeah. The problem isn't that we don't know what to do. It's that our mind keeps talking us out of doing it. Here's the truth. Your brain is lazy by design. It's trying to save energy. It will always choose comfortable now over reward later. That's why discipline is not about fighting the world. It's about fighting that tiny lazy voice inside that says, let's do it tomorrow. Let me tell you something funny. One day, I asked myself, why do I procrastinate? And my brain said, good question. Let's think about it tomorrow. That's how tricky the mind is. So how do winners handle it? Simple. They train their mind like a muscle. Every time you act when your mind says don't, you're making it stronger. Every time you say no to distraction, you're teaching it discipline. Your mind will always throw feelings at you. Tired, bored, scared, unmotivated. But discipline says, thanks for the feelings. Now move. You don't wait for the mind to agree. You tell it who's boss. Winners talk to themselves differently. They say, I'll do it now and think later. Because when you silence your excuses, action becomes your new habit. So rule 2 is this. Win the war inside your head. If you can control your mind, you can control your future. Because the world doesn't stop you. Your thoughts do. The day you tell your mind, I work for my dreams now, not my comfort, that's the day discipline truly begins. Rule number 3. Small wins every day, beat big dreams someday. Let's be honest. Everyone wants to do something big. Start a company, get fit, become successful. But most people are waiting for the right day to start. The Monday version of themselves? You know, the one who suddenly wakes up early, drinks green juice and speaks fluent discipline. Guess what? That version never shows up. People overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. The truth is, greatness isn't built in one giant leap. It's built in 1,000 small, boring, unglamorous steps that no one claps for. You don't need to run a marathon today. Just wear the shoes. You don't need to finish the whole book. Just read 10 pages. You don't need to make $1 million. Just save 10. Those tiny steps are like drops of water. One doesn't seem like much, but keep going and you'll have an ocean. Let me tell you a quick story. When I first started learning English, I used to memorize one new word a day. My friends laughed. They said, "You'll take 10 years at that speed." Guess what? 10 years passed anyway. And now I knew thousands of words while they were still laughing. That's the power of small daily wins. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. Some days you'll do a lot. Some days just a little. But you never stop. You keep the chain unbroken. Think of it like brushing your teeth. One day doesn't make a difference, but skip a week and the results show. So rule 3 is simple. Start small, stay steady, and don't skip. Don't wait for motivation, miracles, or Mondays. Start today. Even if all you can do is one small step, because that one step will take you further than 1,000 good intentions. Winners don't do more things. They just do the small things every single day. Because small things done consistently become the big things everyone remembers. Rule number 4, learn to love rejection. Because that's where discipline grows. Let's face it, nobody likes rejection. It hurts, it's embarrassing, it makes you question everything. Your effort, your talent, your hairstyle, your destiny. But here's the truth. If you can't handle rejection, you can't handle success either. When people hear no, most stop. Winners hear no and think, okay, let's try again. Because rejection doesn't mean you're not good. It just means not yet. When I was younger, I applied for a job and got rejected 12 times in 1 week. Even KFC rejected me. Out of 24 applicants, 23 got in. Guess who didn't? Me. But that rejection, it taught me persistence. It taught me humility. It taught me that life doesn't reward the smartest, it rewards the stubborn. Discipline isn't just waking up early or following a routine. It's about continuing when things don't work. Because anyone can stay disciplined when life claps for them. But can you stay disciplined when no one's watching? When your idea flops? When people laugh? That's the real test. Look around. Every winner you admire is basically a master of rejection. They've been told no so many times that no stopped sounding scary. You see, failure doesn't break disciplined people. It builds them. Because rejection is just the universe asking, do you really want it? So the next time someone says, you can't do it, smile and say, watch me. Because discipline means showing up even when you've been shut down. Rule number 4. Don't run from rejection. Use it as fuel. Every no you survive becomes your training. Every failure you outlast becomes your foundation. Remember, diamonds are made under pressure, and so are disciplined people. Rule number 5. Choose progress over perfection. Let me tell you something dangerous that destroys more dreams than failure ever will. The need to be perfect. People say, I'll start when I'm ready. Guess what? You'll never be ready. You'll never feel fully confident, fully smart, fully prepared. If you wait for perfect, you'll wait forever. Perfection is just procrastination wearing a suit. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to begin. Because every master was once a beginner who looked ridiculous doing it. When I started my first presentation years ago, I was nervous. My slides didn't work, my English wasn't great, and my voice shook. But I showed up, and you know what? Nobody remembers how I stumbled. They remember that I stood. That's what discipline does. It makes you start before you feel ready. Because if you're waiting for confidence to come first, you'll never move. Confidence doesn't start the journey. It comes from the journey. Look, life doesn't reward people who plan forever. It rewards people who start messy and fix along the way. Your first video will be awkward. Your first product will have flaws. Your first speech will be shaky. And that's okay. You're supposed to be bad at first. That's how you know you're growing. The people who chase perfection are like someone who keeps sharpening their knife but never cooks the meal. So rule 5 is simple but powerful. Done is better than perfect. Perfection feels safe, but progress builds success. You'll never improve something that doesn't exist, so make it exist. Start ugly, start scared, start unsure, but just start. Because one day, the same thing you're scared to begin will become the thing you're known for. Rule number 6, surround yourself with disciplined people, or you'll become like the undisciplined ones. Listen carefully. Discipline is contagious. You hang out with lazy people, you'll find new excuses. You hang out with hungry people, you'll find new energy. We all know that one friend who says, let's just chill today. And somehow, that one day turns into every day. You were supposed to go to the gym, but now you're sitting on the couch watching other people with abs. And you tell yourself, it's okay, I'll go tomorrow. But remember, tomorrow never comes for undisciplined people. You see, energy is like perfume. If you stand near someone long enough, you start smelling like them. If you want to be disciplined, don't just admire disciplined people. Stay around them. Watch how they move, how they work, how they think. You don't need to compete with them. Just sit next to them. The fire will catch. Let me tell you something real. When I was surrounded by people who complained all day, I started complaining too. When I surrounded myself with people who created, suddenly I wanted to build things. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. You can't expect to grow if you're planted in the wrong garden. So if you're serious about success, you've got to do something tough. Say goodbye to comfort and company that keep you small. Don't hate them. Don't judge them. Just outgrow them. Hang out with people who make you uncomfortable. Not because they criticize you, but because they make you think bigger. Rule number 6, protect your environment. Because your habits are reflections of your surroundings. If you want to fly with eagles, stop swimming with ducks. Find people who push you, challenge you, and remind you that you can do more even when you don't want to. And one day someone will look at you and say, that's the kind of person I want to be around. Rule number 7, be patient. Because real discipline isn't about speed, it's about stamina. Everyone wants quick results. We live in a world where people can't even wait 10 seconds for popcorn to pop. And somehow, we expect success to come faster than Wi-Fi. You start a workout on Monday and check the mirror by Wednesday. You study for 1 week and ask, why am I not a genius yet? You start a business and expect the world to notice by Friday. That's not how discipline works. Discipline is doing the right thing long enough for results to have no choice but to show up. See, time doesn't test your talent, it tests your consistency. Anyone can be disciplined for a day, few can be disciplined for a decade, and that's where the real difference lies. When things move slowly, most people quit. But winners, they stay. They water the seed even when it looks like nothing's growing, because they know the roots are growing first. Let me tell you something. The day you plant the seed isn't the day you eat the fruit. Discipline is having the patience to keep watering when everyone else has given up. Sometimes life will move so slowly that you'll doubt yourself. You'll wonder, is this even working? And that's exactly the moment when most people stop, right before the miracle happens. So rule number 7 is this. Be patient enough to outlast your doubts. Because if you stay long enough, if you keep showing up, if you keep doing the small, boring, disciplined things every day, one day people will call you lucky. They'll say, you changed overnight, and you'll just smile, because you'll know that your overnight took years. Ladies and gentlemen, discipline isn't about punishment. It's about power. It's the quiet friend that doesn't talk much, but shows up when everyone else leaves. You don't need to be the smartest, fastest, or richest person in the room. You just need to be the most consistent. Do what needs to be done. Control your mind. Win small every day. Embrace rejection. Choose progress over perfection. Protect your environment and be patient. Really patient. These 7 rules don't just build winners. They build warriors. And maybe, just maybe, the most disciplined thing you can do tonight is to stop saying one day and decide that today is day 1. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. You know what's funny? Most people lose the day before it even begins. Not because they're lazy, but because the first thing they do after waking up is scroll. You open your eyes, and instead of saying thank you, you say, what's new? You haven't even left your bed, and the world already owns your mind. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how winners are separated from the average. Not at 9 a.m., not at the office, not in a meeting. It happens in the first 10 minutes of your morning. Those 10 minutes decide whether you'll run the day or the day will run you. Think about it. Every morning, the universe gives you a small gift, 10 golden minutes of peace, but most people exchange that gift for chaos. You wake up, grab your phone, see 47 messages, 3 emails, and 1 notification that says, update failed, and right there, your brain's already tired. You haven't even brushed your teeth, and you've already compared your life to someone's vacation in Dubai, your job to someone's highlight reel, and your body to a filter. No wonder you feel exhausted by 10 a.m. Your energy didn't go to work, it went to worry. But what if you use those 10 minutes differently? What if the first 10 minutes after waking up became your launch pad, not your trap? Because that's what successful people do. They don't wait for motivation, they create it. And it doesn't take an hour, it takes 10 powerful minutes. 10 minutes that build clarity, confidence, and control. 10 minutes that decide whether you'll spend the day reacting to life or creating it. So today, I want to share with you something very simple. The 10-minute morning formula that builds winners. It's not a hack, not a ritual, not a TikTok trend. It's the difference between starting your day like a robot and starting it like a leader. Because if you can control your morning, you can control your life. And if you lose your morning, you lose your momentum. You know what most people do the second they wake up? They open their eyes and open their problems. Before they even say good morning, they're already saying, who texted me? What went wrong? What did I miss? That's not a morning. That's a mental ambush. So the first part of the 10-minute morning formula is what I call resetting your mind before the world loads it. The first 2 minutes, just silence. No music, no phone, no thoughts about breakfast. Just sit, breathe, and let your brain catch up to your body. You know, people charge their phones before using them, but they never charge their minds. That's why you see people walking around with 100% battery on their phone and 1% battery in their soul. Silence is how you charge. Just 2 minutes. It's like pressing the refresh button on your brain. When I started doing this, it felt awkward. I thought, what am I even doing? Just sitting? But then I realized this is the first time in the day where I'm not reacting. I'm being. And that silence, it's powerful. Because once you start your morning in peace, the world can't steal that peace so easily. Now, the next 3 minutes, this is where the magic starts. Gratitude. Most people wake up thinking about what they don't have. They open their eyes and immediately count their problems like it's their morning prayer. But gratitude flips that. You don't need to write a diary or sing a song. Just think of 3 small things that make you smile. Simple things. You got another day. Your mother smiled at you yesterday. Your legs move, your lungs breathe, someone still believes in you. You still have chances left. You see, gratitude doesn't change your situation. It changes your lens. When you start the day thankful, your brain starts the day powerful. It's like cleaning your glasses. Your life doesn't suddenly improve. You just finally see it clearly. I remember one morning, I did this practice before a huge meeting. My team was panicking. Everyone was stressed. I was calm, not because I had no pressure, but because I'd already reminded myself I'm lucky to even have this problem. That's the thing. When you begin with gratitude, life stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like privilege. So silence and gratitude, that's the foundation of your 10-minute morning formula. 5 minutes that reset your brain and refill your energy tank. Because if your mind starts the day messy, your decisions will be messy. But if your mind starts the day grateful, your day will automatically become meaningful. So now your mind is calm. You've reconnected with yourself through silence and gratitude. Now we move into the second half of the 10-minute formula, the vision and learning phase. This is where the dreamers separate from the drifters. Because after you feel peaceful, you need direction. Peace without purpose is just sleep. You've already done that part. Now it's time to wake up for real. The next 3 minutes are where you take control of your story. Not the world's story, not your boss's story, yours. Close your eyes and ask yourself one simple question. What kind of day do I want to live? Not what's on my calendar. Not what do people expect from me. But how do I want to show up today? Imagine it. See yourself in every small moment. You walk confidently into that meeting. You don't panic when things go wrong. You handle it with a smile. You treat people better than you did yesterday. You stay calm when everyone else loses their mind. That's vision. You're not predicting the future. You're programming your mind to create it. Most people wake up and let life happen to them. Winners wake up and decide what's going to happen. And you don't need a vision board or fancy affirmations for that. You just need 3 minutes of intentional imagination. Because if you don't tell your brain what to focus on, it will focus on everything that goes wrong. That's its job. Survival. But success doesn't come from survival. It comes from intention. Now, once you've seen your day, the next step is to feed your brain. 1 minute, that's all I ask. Pick up a book, a podcast, a clip, something that teaches you one idea, just one. People think they need hours to learn, but the truth is, one idea applied daily can completely change your path in a year. You can learn for 1 minute and think for 10 hours. And that's more valuable than learning for 10 hours and never applying anything. You know, People say, I don't have time to read, but they'll spend 15 minutes reading the same argument on Facebook. They'll read 20 comments about a celebrity they've never met, but not one page that can change their mindset. That's not lack of time. That's lack of priority. So I tell people, the goal isn't to fill your mind, it's to sharpen it. Even one good line can make your day more powerful. For example, one morning I read this line, don't be busy, be productive. That one sentence completely changed how I worked that day, because I realized I was confusing movement with progress. So spend that minute feeding your brain. It's like putting the right fuel before you start your engine. And let me tell you this, once you do these 3 minutes of vision and learning, you'll notice a strange thing. The same world feels different. The same problems look smaller. The same tasks start feeling meaningful, because your brain is no longer running on chaos. It's running on clarity. That's what makes the 10-minute formula so powerful. You don't need to change your life overnight. You just need to change how you start it every morning. Silence and gratitude give you peace. Vision and learning give you purpose. And once you have peace and purpose, no matter what the world throws at you, you'll still walk like a winner. You've spent the first 5 minutes building peace, the next 3 minutes shaping purpose. Now comes the most important part, the last 2 minutes where you turn peace and purpose into power. Because if your mornings don't end with action, then all that motivation just stays inside your head like an app you never open. These 2 minutes are where you decide who you will be today. And I mean decide, not I'll try, not let's see how it goes, decide. Winners don't wait for motivation. They manufacture it through decisions. So here's what you do. Stand up. Yes, physically stand up, because your body and your brain are connected. When your body moves, your mindset follows. Then tell yourself out loud, today I'm going to act like the person I want to become. Sounds cheesy, right? But that's how the brain works. If you say it enough, it believes it. If you believe it long enough, you live it. Now take 1 minute to set your main action of the day. Not 10 things, not a to-do list that looks like a grocery bill. Just one key action that will move your life forward. It could be as simple as, I'll finally send that email. I'll talk to that client. I'll work out for 20 minutes. Or I'll stop complaining for 1 day. Whatever it is, make it small, but make it non-negotiable. Because small decisions done daily build discipline. And discipline, my friend, beats motivation every single time. You can watch 100 motivational videos, but if you don't take that first step, you'll just end up an expert in inspiration and a beginner in life. So, this is how the 10-minute formula ends, with movement. It's the difference between people who say someday and people who say day one. You know, I met so many people who had amazing dreams, but no routine. And I realized it's not the dream that fails, it's the morning that fails. If you lose your morning, you lose your momentum. That's why these last 2 minutes matter more than you think. Because when you start your day with a decision, the rest of the day simply follows the leader. Your morning is the general. Your hours are just soldiers. And if the general is strong, the soldiers obey. So make that last decision powerful. Don't wait for the day to be easy. Make yourself strong enough to handle it. That's the secret of winners. Not luck, not timing. Daily control, 10 minutes of control every morning. That's all you need to change the direction of your life. You don't need a perfect morning routine. You just need a powerful one. And 10 minutes of purpose beats 10 hours of chaos every single day. You know, I once asked a young man, what's your biggest dream? He said, to change my life. I smiled and said, then start by changing your morning. He laughed at first, until months later he came back and said, I did. I stopped waking up like a victim. Now I wake up like I'm in control. That's when I realized the formula works only if you do. You see, life doesn't change in a year, it changes in a morning. Because every morning is a small version of your entire life. If your mornings are rushed, distracted, negative, your life starts becoming that too. But if your mornings are intentional, calm, grateful, your life starts aligning with that energy. That's the truth nobody wants to hear. You don't need to change your city, your job, your friends. You need to change your first 10 minutes. You can't control what happens at 3 p.m., but you can control what happens right after you wake up. And that's where winners are built, in the quiet moments when nobody's watching. Every successful person you've ever admired, they didn't start their day by checking notifications. They started by checking their direction. Because the world will try to control your attention, and whoever controls your attention controls your life. So take it back. Just 10 minutes. 10 minutes of silence, Gratitude, vision, learning, and decision. That's your armor. That's your formula. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. or do 200 push-ups. You just need to wake up with purpose. You can be late in life, but don't be lazy in mornings, because the way you start is the way you finish. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm rings, don't roll over, rise up, don't check your phone, check your purpose, don't start scrolling, start controlling. Because one day, that small choice will lead you to a bigger life. Remember this, 10 minutes can't change your world, but it can change how you face the world. And that changes everything. Your morning doesn't just start your day, it starts your destiny. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. If success was really about following the rules, then why do the people who follow the rules most strictly often end up broke, frustrated, and stuck? We were all sold a lie. The lie is simple. Work hard, study well, get a degree, find a stable job, and life will reward you. Sounds beautiful, right? Like a fairy tale. But let me ask you, have you ever seen a fairy tale character stuck in traffic, paying bills, waiting for a salary that disappears in 3 days? Because that's the reality for millions. When I was younger, people told me, if you study hard, you will be successful. So I studied hard. But nobody told me that half of the richest people in the world either dropped out of college or studied things that had nothing to do with the business they later built. Nobody told me that the world doesn't pay you for how hard you study. It pays you for how valuable you are. Think about it. We all know someone who is the topper in school, the one with the sharp notes, the clean handwriting, the neat uniform. Where are they now? Many of them are still struggling to find a good job. Meanwhile, the guy who barely passed, the one who was selling snacks outside the classroom, might already own 3 businesses. This is the lie. Society teaches you that success is a straight line: study, job, money, respect. But in reality, it's a messy jungle. And in that jungle, those who only follow the straight road often walk straight into a trap. Now let me give you a funny example. How many of you remember being told, get good grades or else you'll end up as a shopkeeper? Guess what? Some of those shopkeepers today are running chains of stores, making 10 times more than the person with good grades. So the real punishment is not being a shopkeeper. The real punishment is believing that being a shopkeeper is shameful. Here's the problem. Society glorifies safe paths: the degree, the government job, the multinational company. But here's the truth. Safe is dangerous. Safe means predictable. Predictable means replaceable. Replaceable means society doesn't need you. That's why so many people follow the formula perfectly and still end up invisible. So, let me tell you something uncomfortable but real. If you want to be successful in the real world, you must stop believing that old lie. Success today is not about how many degrees you have. It's about how many problems you can solve. And society doesn't want you to think like that. Why? Because if you start solving problems, you stop being a worker. You become a creator. And creators are dangerous to the system. That's the biggest lie. Society trains you to be employable, not successful. Here's how society keeps you trapped in the lie. They sell you titles instead of results. Doctor, engineer, manager. It sounds glamorous, right? But let me tell you the truth. Titles don't pay bills. Skills do. I once met a guy who proudly told me, I am a senior assistant vice deputy manager. I said, that's great, but do you even know what you do? He laughed nervously and said, honestly, I just forward emails. This is what society does. It gives you a long, shiny title. So you feel important while staying replaceable. Now let's talk about the promotion trap. Society says, work hard for 5 years and you'll get promoted. Sounds nice, but here's reality. The same boss who tells you that is also telling 5 other people the exact same story. And when promotion time comes, they give you a 3% raise and a fancy new chair, just enough to keep you quiet, but never enough to make you free. It's like feeding a lion one piece of meat so he doesn't realize he's still in a cage. And don't even get me started on the respect lie. In school, you were told, if you become successful, everyone will respect you. But look around. Half the people who respect you are secretly jealous, and the other half only respect your money, not you. Here's a funny one. You know you've made it in life when relatives who ignored you suddenly call and say, son, we always believed in you. They didn't believe in you, they believe in your bank account. Another trap? The debt lifestyle. Society whispers, buy the car, buy the house, take the loan. That's success. And people fall for it. They're 25, driving a shiny new car, posting selfies, looking rich. But behind the wheel, the bank owns the car, the bank owns the house, the bank owns their future. That's not success, that's slavery with monthly installments. And let's not forget the comparison game. Society trains you to measure your life by others. Oh, your cousin earns more than you. Your neighbor's kid already bought a house. So people stop building their own path and start chasing shadows. And the sad part, most of those shadows are fake anyway. Half the people flexing luxury on Instagram are drowning in loans. So here's the punchline. Society keeps you trapped by giving you toys, titles, and temporary applause. But real success doesn't come from what people call you. It comes from what you can create without begging anyone's approval. You ever notice how society gets nervous the moment you stop playing their game? The second you say, I don't want a safe job, I want freedom, suddenly everyone becomes an advisor. Your parents panic, your friends laugh, your boss leans in like he cares. That's risky. Don't do it. Why? Because your freedom exposes their prison. Picture a classroom. Teacher says, sit quietly, follow the rules. 90 students obey. One kid says, why? That one kid is not the problem. He's the nightmare. Not because he's wrong, but because he shows the other 90 that they're just sheep. That's exactly how life works. The day you say, I don't want a safe paycheck, I want my dream, you instantly become dangerous. Not dangerous to yourself, dangerous to the lie everyone else is living. I'll give you an example. I met a guy who quit his corporate job to sell snacks on the street. His friends laughed from ties to samosas. You downgraded, bro. Fast forward 5 years, the guy owns a food chain. And guess what? Those same friends who mocked him are now polishing their CVs to work for him. That's the truth. The second you stop believing the lie, you stop being controllable. Debt can't control you. Titles can't control you. Fake respect can't control you. And the system hates that. Because if too many people wake up, the whole pyramid collapses. Think about it. Schools were never designed to make you free. They were designed to make you obedient. That's why they punish questions more than wrong answers. But the moment you stop obeying and start creating, you don't just escape the trap. You become proof that the trap was fake. And proof is contagious. One person breaks free, and suddenly 10 others are thinking, wait, maybe I can too. That's why society attacks dreamers first. Because dreamers are rebels. And rebels, they spread. Here's the funny cycle. First, they laugh at you, then they insult you, then they pretend you don't exist. And finally, they hand you their resume. So don't be scared of being dangerous. The most dangerous thing you can do in a world full of blind followers is to simply think for yourself. You know the most dangerous thing about society's lie? It doesn't just fool you once. It programs your entire brain. From childhood, you're told what's possible, what's impossible, what's respectable, what's stupid, and without realizing it, you carry that script into adulthood. They train you to think in boxes. Study this subject, take this job, buy this house, retire at this age. Even your dreams are boxed. When you were a kid, you wanted to be an astronaut, a musician, a creator. Society laughs and says, no, be realistic. And suddenly, your dream shrinks from astronaut to senior analyst in an office with fluorescent lighting. And here's the tragedy. Most people never update their brain. They're running on the same program installed at age 10. No wonder they can't break free. Imagine using a phone from the 90s in 2025. You'd laugh at it. But most people are using a brain programmed in the 90s, running their life in 2025. Here's where it gets funny. Society tells you, be realistic. But what is realistic? If someone in 1800 said, one day we'll have metal birds flying in the sky, everyone would laugh. Now we call it an airplane. If someone in the 90s said, one day you'll carry a tiny box in your pocket that shows you the entire world, people would laugh. Now we call it a smartphone. What's realistic today was impossible yesterday. So when they say be realistic, what they really mean is don't think bigger than me. And this is why breaking the lie is not just about escaping. It's about rewiring your brain. You have to unlearn. You have to delete the useless apps society installed in your head. The safe job app, the respectable title app, the don't take risks app. They're outdated. They don't serve you anymore. Here's a simple test. Ask a child, what do you want to be? They'll say something magical. Superhero, dancer, explorer. Ask an adult the same question. They'll say, I just want a stable income. What happened? Society killed the magic. They downgraded ambition into survival. And here's the craziest part. The moment you try to upgrade your brain, everyone around you gets uncomfortable. You start reading different books, learning new skills, questioning the system. People say, you've changed. Of course you've changed. You're supposed to change. The only thing worse than failing is being the same person you were 10 years ago. So here's the punchline. Society's biggest trick isn't making you work hard. It's making you think small. Because small thinkers are easy to control. But once you expand your thinking, once you start dreaming again, once you reprogram your brain, you're untouchable. Here's what nobody tells you. The moment you stop buying into society's lie, life doesn't suddenly get easier. In fact, it usually gets harder first. Why? Because freedom has a price. And that price is discomfort. Think about it. If you've been walking on a treadmill your whole life and suddenly you step off, your legs feel shaky. You're not weak, you're just not used to real ground. That's exactly what happens when you stop chasing the safe paycheck and start chasing freedom. At first, it feels scary. But scary doesn't mean wrong. It means you're alive. I'll give you a real example. A friend of mine left his job because he wanted to build an online business. For the first 6 months, he was broke, stressed, eating noodles every day. Everyone pointed at him and said, see, that's why you should have stayed in your job. But here's the twist. He pushed through the pain, learned new skills, and a year later, he was making more than his old boss. The same people who doubted him, they're now asking him how he did it. That's the funny thing about breaking the lie. In the beginning, you look stupid. Later, you look smart. In the beginning, people pity you. Later, they envy you. Society loves to mock the rebel in the short term, but it always respects them in the long term. And let's be real, struggle is part of the process. You can't build muscle without tearing it first. You can't build freedom without breaking comfort first. If comfort made people successful, everyone would already be successful. But comfort only builds mediocrity. Struggle builds greatness. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The first reward of breaking free isn't money. It's control. You wake up and realize your day belongs to you, your decisions belong to you, your mistakes belong to you. That freedom is priceless. Society tells you success is about a big salary, a corner office, a shiny car. But true success is when you don't need to ask permission to live your life. And here's the paradox. Once you get that control, money usually follows. Why? Because when you do what you love, when you think bigger, when you create instead of obey, value flows to you. The system doesn't teach this because obedient workers don't need to know it. But creators, builders, dreamers, they live it. So don't expect the road to be easy. Expect it to be worth it. Society's lie promises comfort, but gives you regret. The truth demands struggle, but gives you freedom. And that's a trade worth making every single time. Let me leave you with the final truth. The biggest lie society sells about success is that it's a destination, a place you arrive at. The house, the car, the title, the bank account. They sell you this finish line because it keeps you running in circles, chasing something shiny. But real success, it's not a place, it's a direction. It's not about what you collect, it's about who you become on the way. Here's the funny part. You never arrive because every time you hit a goal, your brain immediately asks, what's next? You graduate, you want a job. You get a job, you want a promotion. You get a promotion, you want a bigger title. It never ends. That's proof success isn't the trophy. It's the game itself. And the moment you stop playing society's game and start playing your own, you win. Doesn't matter if you're making $1,000 or $1,000. If you're free, you're already richer than 90% of people trapped in jobs they hate. Think about it. The richest life isn't the one with the most money. It's the one with the most choices. When you can wake up and decide, today I'll work on what I love, that's freedom. That's wealth. And here's the best part. The system can't stop someone who refuses to play by its rules. They can mock you. They can doubt you. They can resist you. But once you build your own path, you don't need their approval anymore. You become untouchable. So if you take anything from this talk, take this. Stop chasing the script they gave you. Stop running towards someone else's definition of success. Write your own, even if it looks crazy. Even if nobody claps for you at first. Because eventually, the same world that mocked you will celebrate you. At the end of your life, nobody remembers your job title. Nobody remembers your GPA. People remember the risks you took, the lives you touched, and the courage you had to live on your own terms. So don't buy the lie. Success is not a paycheck. It's not a certificate. It's not a car. Success is waking up every day knowing you are the author of your story. And that story, it's far too valuable to be written by society. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are in your 20s, I want you to stop everything you're doing right now and listen to me. Because this decade, these 10 years, will either make you or it will break you. And most people don't even realize it until it's too late. I meet so many people in their 30s, 40s, 50s who tell me, I wish I had done things differently in my 20s. And every time I ask them what happened, the answer is almost always the same. They say, I thought I had time. And that's the problem. You think you have time. You think you can waste a few years, party a little, do a job you hate, scroll your phone for hours, and somehow life will magically work out. But let me tell you, time is like water in your hand. The more you take it for granted, the faster it slips away. Your 20s are not just another chapter of your life. They are the foundation of your future. The choices you make here will decide what kind of life you live in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. When I was younger, I had friends who were brilliant, smarter than me, more talented than me. But they wasted their 20s. They thought talent was enough. They thought opportunities would always be there. Today, most of them are struggling. Not because they are not smart, but because they didn't use their 20s wisely. Look at Bill Gates. At 20 years old, while most people were figuring out which parties to attend, he was dropping out of Harvard to build Microsoft. That was a risk. That was a decision most people thought was insane, but he used his 20s to work harder than anyone else. By the time he was 30, he was already one of the most influential entrepreneurs in the world. Look at the story of Alibaba. When we started, nobody believed we could succeed. The internet was new in China. I was already in my mid-30s by then, but I remember watching my younger team members all in their 20s working day and night, sleeping in the office, eating cheap noodles just to save money. They didn't waste a single opportunity. Many of those young people are now multimillionaires, not because they were lucky, but because they used their 20s to build something, to learn, to fail, and to grow. Your 20s are when you have the least to lose and the most to gain. You don't have a big mortgage yet. You probably don't have kids yet. You don't have too many responsibilities tying you down. This is your time to take risks. Start that business. Learn that skill. Travel to that place. Join that startup. Do the things that scare you, because once your 30s arrive, the cost of failure becomes much higher. But here's the problem. Most people waste their 20s because they are chasing comfort. Comfort is the biggest enemy of growth. Your phone, your Netflix subscription, your nights out, they all give you instant pleasure, but they steal your long-term happiness. If you are in your 20s, you should be uncomfortable. You should be learning skills that challenge you. You should be surrounding yourself with people who push you to be better. You should be taking on projects that feel too big for you, because the person who can survive discomfort will always be stronger than the one who hides from it. Let me tell you a story. I once knew a young man in his 20s who had two options: take a safe job with a comfortable salary, or join a small struggling company where he would have to work like crazy for very little money. All his friends told him to take the safe job, but he chose the small company because he knew he would learn more there. That small company grew into one of the biggest tech firms in the country. Today, he is one of its top executives. If he had taken the safe path, he would still be earning the same small salary and complaining about life. Sometimes the biggest risk is not taking any risk at all. And don't tell me you don't have time. You have time, you just waste it. You waste it on your phone, on meaningless gossip, on people who don't care about you, on things that will not matter in 5 years. Imagine if you took just 2 hours a day from your distractions and invested them in learning a skill, building a business, or working on a dream. In 1 year, you would be unrecognizable. Elon Musk once said he worked 80 to 100 hours a week in his 20s. Why? Because he knew the more hours you put in now, the further ahead you will be later. The difference between someone who works 40 hours and someone who works 80 hours a week is that the second person achieves in 1 year what the first takes 2 years to do. That's how you get ahead in life. But working hard is not enough. You also have to work smart. Your 20s are a time to build connections, to meet people who inspire you, to find mentors who can guide you. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. Surround yourself with people who make you feel uncomfortable because they know more than you. That's how you grow. And please stop comparing yourself to others on social media. You see someone your age buying a car, buying a house, traveling the world, and you feel like you are falling behind. You're not. Life is not a race against other people. It's a race against yourself. The only question you should be asking is, am I better today than I was yesterday? If you fail in your 20s, it's fine. Fail as many times as you can. Every failure is just a lesson in disguise. But if you waste your 20s, you will regret it for the rest of your life. So here is my challenge to you. For the next 5 years, commit to growth. Commit to learning one skill deeply. Commit to meeting people who inspire you. Commit to taking at least one big risk every year. And commit to avoiding anything that wastes your time. One day, you will be 40. You will look back at your 20s and either say, I'm glad I did it, or I wish I had. Ladies and gentlemen, your 20s will not last forever. The parties will end. The late nights will end. Even your energy will not be the same. But the habits you build, the skills you learn, the relationships you invest in, those will stay with you for life. One day, you will wake up at 40, and you will either thank your younger self, or you will wish you could go back and shake them awake. If you take anything from me today, let it be this. Stop living like you have unlimited time. You don't. Your life is a countdown. Every day is one less opportunity to become the person you want to be. So start now, not tomorrow, not next year, now. Because the cost of wasting your 20s is not just losing 10 years, it's losing the rest of your life. So stop wasting your 20s, learn, take risks, build something. Meet people who challenge you. Read books that make you think. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. And remember, the habits you build now will either serve you or destroy you for the rest of your life. Because the real question is not, what can I do in my 20s? The real question is, what will I regret not doing when I'm 40? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you ever wonder why some people get rich while others work just as hard and stay broke forever? The answer is not luck. It's not even talent. It's 10 secrets, hidden, simple, and powerful that most people ignore. And today I'm going to share them with you one by one. Secrets that can quietly change your bank account, your life, and your future. Stick with me for the next few minutes because the first secret alone will make you rethink every purchase, every decision, and every habit you have with money. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start with the first secret that separates people who get rich from those who stay broke. Secret 1. Live below your means. Imagine this. You just got your paycheck. You're excited. You think, finally I can enjoy life. And then, somehow by the end of the week, it's gone. Poof, where did it go? Most people blame bills, taxes, or bad luck. But here's the truth. You spent your money before it even had a chance to work for you. This secret is not about being cheap. It's about being smart. Most people think making more money is the solution. Wrong. The real problem is how fast you give it away. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine got a promotion, double his salary in a year. Exciting, right? He could have bought a car, upgraded his apartment, gone on vacations, and posted it all on Instagram. But instead, he quietly invested a large portion of his income. Fast forward 3 years, the money he didn't spend had grown more than the salary increase itself. While everyone else was busy trying to look rich, he was quietly becoming rich. Even famous people follow this secret. Warren Buffett still lives in the same house he bought decades ago. Mark Zuckerberg drives a modest car. Oprah Winfrey budgets carefully and makes smart purchases. Here's the funny part. Most people aren't broke because they don't earn enough. They're broke because they buy things their mood tells them to buy. Shoes, gadgets, fancy coffees, random subscriptions, all while thinking, I deserve it. There's this guy who goes out with friends. Before leaving the house, he's like, I'll only spend 1,000 today. By the end of the night, he spent 7,000. Not because he wanted to, but because he didn't want to look cheap. He didn't pay the bill. His insecurity paid the bill. So here's your challenge. Look at your last month's spending. Ask yourself, did I buy this because I needed it or because I wanted to feel happy? Start catching yourself even half the time and you'll notice your money behaving differently, slowly, quietly, but surely it starts to grow. You start building freedom. You start controlling your life instead of letting your money control it. Because the first secret to getting rich isn't about earning a fortune overnight. It's about keeping what you already have and using it wisely. And once you master this habit, you'll be surprised the richer you become, the easier it gets to make more money. Because now, your money works for you, not the other way around. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever noticed how some people always seem to find opportunities, make money, and grow rich, while others work just as hard and stay stuck in the same place year after year? It's not luck. It's not talent. The difference is in one secret almost nobody talks about, and once you understand it, it can completely change your life. The second secret that will make you rich is this. Master a skill that can earn you a lot more than your regular job ever could. Most people think money comes from working harder, doing more hours, or just being lucky at their job. That's why they stay average. But rich people don't just work, they learn skills that make them valuable, irreplaceable, and highly paid, and then they use those skills to create multiple opportunities for themselves. Let me tell you a story. I knew a guy working a normal 9-to-5 job. He was smart, diligent, but his income was limited by his salary. One day, he decided to learn digital marketing. At first, it was slow. After a few months, he landed his first client, a tiny local shop. The client paid him $300 for one project, then 2, then 5. Within a year, he was earning double his old salary just from side work. 3 years later, he quit his 9-to-5 completely. He had multiple clients, and his income had skyrocketed, all because he invested in learning one high-income skill. And it's not just regular people. Look at famous examples. Elon Musk taught himself programming, physics, and engineering basics before launching his first companies. Oprah Winfrey built communication and media skills that allowed her to dominate television and build a media empire. Jeff Bezos learned coding and computer systems before starting Amazon in his garage. Skills create leverage. Leverage creates money. Here's another example that might hit closer to home. A friend of mine learned video editing. Just one skill. At first, he did free work for friends. Then he started charging $50 per video. Later, he charged $500. Eventually, he had enough clients to quit his part-time job completely. In less than 2 years, his skill alone was making him more than most full-time employees. The key is this. Most people work for money. Rich people make their skills work for them. They focus on becoming so good at one thing that people pay them over and over without them needing to trade every hour of their life for cash. That's why learning a high-value skill is the second secret to getting rich. Now, let's make it practical for you. Ask yourself, what's one skill that people will pay you for consistently? Could it be writing, sales, coding, AI tools, video editing, marketing, or some craft you're passionate about? Pick one. Dedicate time every day to learning it, practicing it, and improving. The world pays for value. The richer you become in skills, the richer your life becomes in opportunities, money, and freedom. And here's the best part. This skill doesn't need to be something huge or complicated. It just needs to be something people will pay for. Something you're willing to get really, really good at. Start today, and 3 years from now, you'll look back and wonder why you didn't start sooner. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the second secret that will quietly change your financial life. Focus on mastering a skill that multiplies your income, and money will start following you. Ladies and gentlemen, the third secret is don't rely on one source of income. Create multiple ways to earn money. Most people think one job is enough. They go to work, get their paycheck, maybe hope for a promotion, and call it a day. That's fine for living, but it will never make you rich. Rich people understand that relying on one source of income is like putting all your eggs in a basket on a windy rooftop. One gust, and everything can fall apart. Let me give you a real-life story. There was a friend of mine, let's call him Liam. He worked as a graphic designer at a small firm. His salary was okay, but he wanted more freedom and more income. Instead of asking for a raise, he started small. First, he sold custom illustrations online. Then he created an online course teaching beginners how to design logos. Next, he offered freelance work for small businesses in his city. 3 years later, Ahmed had 4 separate income streams. Even if one slowed down, the others kept him stable, and together they earned more than his old full-time salary. Imagine you have 4 small rivers of income flowing into your life. If one dries up, the others are still bringing water. But if you have only one river and it dries up, well, you're thirsty, and quickly. Here's a completely different example. A woman I know started baking cakes from her home. She sold to neighbors at first. Then she opened an Instagram page, started delivering online orders, and got a small catering contract with a local cafe. On weekends, she taught baking classes. All of a sudden, she had 3 different streams of income, and she was making more than she ever did in her old 9-to-5 job. And this works even in tiny ways. Maybe you're good at writing, editing, tutoring, or even social media posts. Start small. Offer your skill for money, even if it's just $20 here, $50 there. Then stack it. Add another income stream. A small online shop, reselling things, digital products, or investing in a side project. Each stream might be small at first, but over time, they combine and grow into serious wealth. The important thing to remember is multiple income streams don't just increase your money, they protect you. If one job slows down, the others keep going. If one business fails, the others keep you afloat. This is what gives rich people confidence. They're not dependent on one paycheck or one boss. So the third secret is clear. Don't rely on just your main job. Create multiple ways for money to flow into your life, small or big, online or offline, side hustle or skill-based work. Each one adds up. Over time, they stack, multiply, and grow quietly until you realize you don't just have money, you have freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, by now, you've learned 3 secrets: keeping your money, mastering a skill, and creating multiple streams of income. But if you want to get truly rich, there's a 4th secret that most people completely ignore. A secret that sounds simple, but almost nobody actually practices. The 4th secret is this: invest your money wisely. Don't let it sit idle. Most people think saving money is enough. They put it in a bank account, watch the balance slowly grow with tiny interest, and feel proud. But here's the problem. Inflation, taxes, and rising costs quietly eat that money away. The real way to build wealth is to make your money work for you. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine, Sarah, used to save every penny she could, but it just sat in a savings account. Then she learned about simple investments, stocks, mutual funds, and a little real estate. She started small, buying a few shares each month. 5 years later, that same small effort turned into a significant nest egg. While she was still living normally, her money was growing quietly in the background, almost like having a second income she didn't have to work for. Here's another example. A local cafe owner I know had extra cash from his business. Instead of leaving it in the bank, he invested in a small rental property nearby. Now, not only does he run his cafe, but every month, the rental income comes in automatically. He's not doing extra work, yet he's building wealth faster than most people with twice his salary. Even small investments matter. Imagine putting aside $50 a week into something that earns just 10% annually. It doesn't sound like much at first, but over years, compound interest grows it into a surprisingly large amount, enough to fund your dreams or start another project. The key idea here is, don't just save money, invest it in ways that generate growth. Stocks, real estate, side businesses, or digital products, whatever works for you, start learning and putting your money there. Even small amounts grow exponentially over time. And the beauty of this secret is that you don't need to be rich to start. The earlier you start, the more powerful it becomes. Money compounds like a snowball rolling down a hill. Small at first, but unstoppable if you keep pushing it. Here's a relatable tip. The next time you get extra money, a bonus, a gift, even some side hustle cash, Ask yourself, can this money work for me instead of just sitting in my wallet? Use it for investments, even tiny ones. Over time, you'll be surprised how much it grows without feeling like work. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fourth secret that can quietly start building your wealth. Make your money work for you through smart investments, not just saving it. Ladies and gentlemen, the secret 5 is surround yourself with the right people. Here's a truth most people completely overlook. The people you spend your time with can make or break your path to wealth. It's not your salary, not your skills, not even luck. Sometimes, it's the company you keep. Think about it. If you spend your days with people who constantly complain about money, life, or opportunities, it's hard to stay motivated. But if you surround yourself with people who are ambitious, curious, and action-oriented, their energy pushes you forward, often without you even realizing it. Here's a realistic example. Imagine 2 software developers in the same city. Both have similar talent and experience. Developer A spends evenings hanging out with colleagues who complain about bosses and scrolls social media for hours. Developer B attends a local coding meetup twice a month and joins a small online group of developers sharing freelance opportunities. Within a year, Developer B has 3 freelance clients, has learned a new framework, and even got invited to a remote project paying significantly more. Developer A is still waiting for a promotion. The difference? The people around them. Even in famous examples, this principle shows up clearly. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are lifelong friends who constantly challenge and inspire each other. Gates has said that Buffett has taught him lessons about business and life that no book could provide. Their friendship has been a source of insight, accountability, and growth, showing how surrounding yourself with the right people can amplify your success. Or consider Oprah Winfrey. She has often credited her mentors, collaborators, and professional circles for helping her rise. She didn't do it alone. Every advisor, coach, or partner she worked with helped her make better decisions and take bigger risks. Even everyday life proves this principle. A barista learning about personal finance from a coworker who invests in real estate will naturally start asking questions, exploring options, and taking action. A neighbor who complains about never having money just reinforces the same stagnant mindset. Here's a simple exercise for anyone listening. Write down the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are they people who inspire, teach, or motivate you? Or are they people who drain energy, complain, or resist growth? Make small changes. Attend meetups, online groups, workshops, or even casual coffee chats with people who are growing and doing new things. You don't need to cut everyone else out. Just balance your time toward people who lift you higher. The lesson is simple but powerful. Wealth flows through networks. You can have the best ideas, the best skills, and even the money to invest, but if the people around you are dragging you down, it's much harder to reach real success. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 5th secret that will quietly change your life. Surround yourself with people who inspire and challenge you, friends, mentors, or collaborators, and watch how your opportunities, mindset, and even your income start to grow naturally. Ladies and gentlemen, secret 6 is, take full responsibility for your life. Here's a secret that almost nobody talks about. If you want to get rich, you have to stop blaming anyone or anything for where you are today. That's right, your boss, the economy, your school, even your family. Rich people don't wait for permission, excuses, or perfect timing. They take full responsibility for their actions and results. Think about it. Most people blame circumstances. They say, I can't start a business because I don't have money. Or I'm stuck in this job because the economy is bad. The truth? Those things are real. Yes, but wealth isn't built on excuses. It's built on what you can control. Let me give you a realistic example. A young woman named Cephas wanted to start freelance writing, but didn't have clients. She could have blamed her lack of experience, her city, or the pandemic. Instead, she took responsibility. She spent hours each day building a portfolio, pitching to websites, and learning online marketing. Within a few months, she landed her first paying client. A year later, she had multiple clients and was making more than she earned in her old full-time job, all because she focused on what she could control instead of blaming her situation. Even famous people do this. Jeff Bezos started Amazon in his garage. He didn't blame the publishing industry, the economy, or investors. He took full responsibility for his vision and execution. Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, didn't wait for someone to give her money or approval. She worked, learned, and persisted until her product succeeded. They could have made excuses like everyone else, but they chose responsibility. Here's a relatable way to think about it. Imagine two people trying to lose weight. One blames their genetics, their schedule, and their boss for eating badly. The other person takes responsibility, adjusts their diet, plans workouts, and tracks progress. Who gets results? Responsibility creates action, and action creates results. The same principle applies to money, business, and wealth. A practical tip: the next time something doesn't go your way, don't ask why me. Instead ask, what can I do right now to fix this? Even small actions compound over time. That's how people who take responsibility quietly build wealth while others stay stuck. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the sixth secret that will change your life. Stop blaming others, take full responsibility for your choices, and act consistently. Because the moment you own your life, you take control of your wealth too. Ladies and gentlemen, secret 7 is solve problems that matter. If you want to get rich, here's a truth most people completely overlook. Wealth is built by solving problems that actually matter to people, not by guessing, wishing, or following a trend. The bigger the problem you solve, the bigger the reward, and the more people will pay you for it. Think about it. Every successful business, invention, or breakthrough exists because someone noticed a problem and found a solution. That's it. You don't need magic. You need focus. You need to find problems worth solving and work relentlessly to fix them. Here's a story that makes this clear. Imagine a small-town delivery driver named Ahmed. He noticed that local shops often struggled to deliver products to customers efficiently. So he started a simple service. He'd pick up items from shops and deliver them for a small fee. At first, he had just 3 clients. Over time, word spread. Shops realized it saved them hours of hassle, and customers loved the convenience. Within a few years, Ahmed's small delivery service grew into a profitable local business, eventually hiring a team. The key? He identified a problem that mattered and solved it consistently. Even famous examples highlight this principle. Elon Musk didn't just decide to make flashy electric cars. He saw a real problem: the world's reliance on gas, pollution, and slow, unattractive electric vehicles. Tesla wasn't about making cars for fun. It was about solving a problem that millions of people cared about. That solution brought him wealth and influence. Look at Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. She noticed an everyday frustration women had: uncomfortable undergarments that didn't fit well under clothing. She solved that problem with a simple but brilliant invention, and the world paid her for it. Her wealth came from creating a solution for a real pain point, not from following trends or hoping for luck. Even small-scale, realistic examples work the same way. A cafe owner notices that customers want healthy snacks with coffee, but none are available. By adding just a few options, sales increase significantly. A freelance writer sees businesses struggling with social media content. Offering consistent, high-quality posts brings in recurring clients. The principle is the same. Money follows solutions, not complaints or ideas without action. Here's a practical tip for anyone listening. Write down 3 problems you see every day, at work, in your community, or even online. Ask yourself, can I solve this problem in a simple, useful way? Start small. Test it. Adjust it. Even if it starts as a side hustle or small project, it can grow bigger than you imagine. Another key idea: the most profitable problems are the ones that affect many people, and they care enough to pay for the solution. It could be saving time, saving money, improving health, or making life easier. The richer the problem, the bigger the reward. And remember, solving problems also builds reputation and opportunities. People trust problem solvers. They recommend them, they collaborate with them. Your network grows automatically, and so does your potential to earn. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 7th secret that can quietly transform your financial life. Focus on solving problems that matter, and money will naturally follow, because people always pay for solutions, not excuses. Ladies and gentlemen, secret 8 is take action, don't wait for perfection. Here's a truth most people completely ignore. Most people never get rich because they wait. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect opportunity. They wait until everything is just right. But let me tell you something. There is no perfect moment. The people who build wealth are the ones who act, even when things are messy, incomplete, or imperfect. Think about it. Waiting for perfection is like sitting on the sidelines while everyone else is running the race. Every day you wait. Opportunities pass by. Every day you hesitate. Someone else solves the problem you were thinking about. Action beats perfection. Always. Let me give you a famous example. The founders of Airbnb didn't have a perfect business plan or a fancy website when they started. They literally set up air mattresses in their apartment and rented them out during a conference in San Francisco. The website was basic, the photos were simple, and the presentation was far from perfect. But they took action. They learned from the experience, improved their offering, and eventually built one of the most valuable companies in the world. Even in everyday life, this principle works. Imagine a local baker who dreams of starting her own small business. She could wait months perfecting recipes, branding, and social media profiles. But instead, she starts selling cupcakes at a local farmer's market with what she has. Every week, she learns what people like, adjusts her recipes, and improves presentation. Over time, her small actions turn into a profitable business because she acted instead of waiting for perfection. Or think about Steve Jobs. The first iPhone wasn't flawless. It had bugs, missing features, and many critics doubted it. But he launched anyway, learned from users, and iterated. That imperfect action changed the world. Waiting for perfection would have meant missing the opportunity entirely. Even small actions matter. Sending a single pitch to a client, posting one video online, launching a tiny side project. These may seem insignificant at first, but each imperfect action builds momentum. It teaches you what works, what doesn't, and opens doors you didn't even know existed. Perfection is an illusion. Progress is reality. Here's a practical tip. The next time you hesitate, ask yourself, what's one small action I can take right now? Even if it's not perfect. Take it, then the next. Keep moving forward. Momentum compounds over time, and before you know it, your imperfect actions have created real wealth, experience, and opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 8th secret that will quietly change your financial life. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Take action, learn, adjust, and move forward. Imperfect action beats perfect hesitation every single time. Ladies and gentlemen, secret 9 is protect your reputation and integrity. Here's a truth that many people overlook. Wealth is fragile if you don't protect your reputation and integrity. You can make money quickly, but if people stop trusting you, opportunities vanish almost overnight. Real lasting wealth isn't just about money, it's about credibility, trust, and respect. Think about it. How many people chase shortcuts, lie or cut corners for quick gains, only to lose everything later? The bigger your ambition, the more visible you are, and the more critical your reputation becomes. Even tech leaders show this principle. Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, is known for his transparent communication, fairness, and ethical leadership. Employees, investors, and partners trust him. That trust allows Microsoft to innovate, grow, and enter new markets confidently. Imagine if he cut corners or misled investors. Opportunities would evaporate, no matter how talented or strategic he was. Even in everyday life, protecting your reputation matters. Imagine a small business owner who cheats a few clients to make a quick profit. The word spreads. Suddenly, no one wants to work with them. Compare that to a business that consistently delivers on promises, communicates clearly, and treats customers with respect. Clients return, referrals increase, and opportunities multiply. Here's another relatable example. Elon Musk. He has occasionally faced criticism, but his companies maintain strong trust in their products because he focuses on delivering results. SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink, the trust in these brands is directly tied to the people behind them. Integrity and reputation allow him to attract investors, talent, and customers repeatedly. Here's a realistic, everyday scenario. A freelance designer lands a big project. Instead of cutting corners to finish faster, they spend the time to exceed expectations. The client is so impressed that they refer 3 more clients, one of which becomes a long-term, high-paying relationship. Reputation turned into opportunity, almost magically. Practical takeaway, every decision you make, every deal you take, every interaction matters. Ask yourself, will this choice enhance my credibility or harm it? Always choose integrity, even if it seems slower or harder. Because in the long run, people pay more, trust more, and collaborate more with those who have a solid reputation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 9th secret that protects your path to lasting wealth. Guard your reputation and act with integrity in everything you do. Money can come and go, but trust is priceless, and it will multiply your opportunities faster than almost anything else. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the final secret that separates ordinary people from the truly wealthy. Think big, dream beyond what seems possible, and refuse to limit yourself to small goals or safe paths. Most people live in small boxes. They tell themselves, I can't do that, it's too risky, or I'll never be that successful. The result? They achieve small results, stay stuck, and watch others reach heights they never imagined. Rich people? They dare to dream big, not recklessly, but strategically. And they let those dreams drive every decision, every action, and every risk they take. Think about it. Take Jack Dorsey, the co-founder of Twitter and Square. He didn't settle for creating just another small software company. He imagined global platforms that could change how people communicate and handle money. Many doubted him, but he pursued his big vision relentlessly. Today, Twitter reshaped social media, and Square transformed payments for millions of small businesses worldwide. That's the power of thinking beyond limits. Or consider Reed Hastings, co-founder of Netflix. When DVDs by mail were still a small idea, he didn't limit himself to a modest business. He dreamed of transforming how the world watches entertainment. Many investors doubted streaming content could replace theaters or cable. But he pushed forward, thinking decades ahead. And today Netflix is a global powerhouse, fundamentally changing media consumption. His success wasn't from playing it safe. It was from thinking big. Even in everyday life, thinking big matters. A small business owner might imagine opening just one shop in their town. Someone who dreams bigger could see a regional chain, an online presence, or even a franchise model. Thinking big doesn't guarantee instant success, but it creates vision, motivation, and opportunities that small thinking never will. Here's a practical tip. Write down a goal so big it scares you a little. Not impossible, but intimidating enough to push your comfort zone. Break it into smaller actionable steps and start today. Each small step compounds into massive results over time. And remember, thinking big isn't about ego. It's about solving bigger problems, creating more value, and making an impact that matches your ambition. The bigger the vision, the more doors open, the more opportunities arise, and the more wealth naturally follows. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 10th and final secret. Never shrink your dreams, never limit your ambitions, and always aim for more than you think is possible. Wealth favors the bold, the visionary, and those willing to think far beyond the ordinary. Dream big, act boldly, and remember, your financial freedom, your opportunities, and your life success are waiting just beyond the limits you set for yourself today. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.